What is evolution? Evolution is nothing but the gradual changes that has taken place in animals in due course of time. The Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Homo erectus, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, which is the primitive man, then the modern man called Homo sapiens. So this is the evolution of man. In a given geographical area, starting from its original character and radiating to geographical area is called adaptive radiation. So this is a very important question from examination point of view. Hello everyone, welcome back to this very important session or the revision class of chapter 6 of 2nd PUC Biology called Evolution. Myself B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. So this particular chapter, I think we can see in the picture itself. So what am I going to discuss in this particular chapter called Evolution, Evolution of Man also. So this particular chapter called Evolution has a weightage of 8 marks. So what are all the important questions that might be asked, concepts of this particular chapter called Evolution? Moving on to the flow chart. Here you can see that what is evolution? Evolution is nothing but the gradual changes that has taken place in animals in due course of time. So there were many theories put across to explain the process of origin of life. So what were the theories of origin of life? Called theory of special creation, theory of panspermia, theory of spontaneous generation and theory of chemical evolution. What were the evidences of evolution? What was the proof that evolution has taken place? Different evidences were put across called paleontological evidences, anatomical and morphological evidences, embryological evidences, biochemical evidences and biogeographical evidence. These were the different evidences that were put across to explain the process of evolution. Adaptive radiation. So here it's a very important concept from examination point of view. Anyhow, I am going to discuss that in the coming slides. What is adaptive radiation? What are the examples you are supposed to give for adaptive radiation? This is one such question which is usually asked in the examination about adaptive. What is adaptive radiation? Give examples. So you can give examples of Darwin finches, marsupials of Australia and adaptive convergence. Moving on to the theories of evolution. Different theories of evolution was put. That was the previous slide, evidences of evolution. Here the theories of evolution. So one such theory is called Lamarck's theory, Darwin's theory. As we all know, Charles Darwin, who is called the father of evolution, then the mutation theory and modern synthetic theory. Moving on to Hardy-Weinberg principle. This is also a very important concept, examination point of view, which is explained in algebraic equation. And what are the factors that affect Hardy-Weinberg principle is the gene migration, genetic drift, mutation, genetic recombination and natural selection. Moving on to the evolution in plants and animals. So there were different eras. We call it as geological periods. So what were they? Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, Cenozoic era, Carboniferous era, Permian era, Triassic, Jurassic, Tertiary. Then we have the Carboniferous, the Cretaceous and Quaternary. These are the different geological periods. Geological periods where we use the word called era. Next, origin and evolution of man. How did man evolve? What were the stages that has made the modern man to evolve? The Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Homo erectus, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, which is the primitive man, then the modern man called Homo sapiens sapien. So this is the evolution of man. Moving on to the MCQ questions. As I already said in the beginning of this revision class of a very important chapter called Evolution, which has a weightage of 8 marks. Every chapter will have the multiple choice questions. So what type of multiple choice questions might be asked in this particular chapter? So I've just given one example, and as I said, in this particular session, I have tried to explain the questions and answers that were previously asked in the previous question papers. So, which of the following is used as an industrial pollution indicator? So, all of us know the pollution indicator is lichen. So, is it Lepidoptera, B. lichens, C. Lycopersicon and Lycopodium? So, answer is option B, lichen. So, like this, the MCQs or maybe even the fill in the blanks might be asked. As I already explained in my first session, the blueprint of the question paper, the first part A contains that part A1 and 2, part A1 contains MCQs and part A2 contains fill in the blanks. So, moving on to the question number 2. Mention any two examples of evolution by anthropogenic action, man-made activities. So, the examples of evolution by anthropogenic action are industrial melanism, which is explained with Biston Bitillaria that happened in England, then overuse of herbicides and pesticides, antibiotic or drug resistance in bacteria. Next, question number 3. Write any two examples for analogous organs in animals. So, what are analogous organs? Organs which have different origin but perform same function. So, wings of butterfly and that of birds. So, here they have asked, write any two examples. Then one is wings of butterfly and that of birds, eye of octopus and that of mammals, flippers of penguins and that of dolphins. Examples are very, very important. Moving on to question number 4. Write a detailed note on adaptive radiation. Already I told this is one such question which is usually asked in the examination. What is adaptive radiation then? The evolution of different species in a given geographical area starting from its original character and radiating to geographical area is called adaptive radiation. So what is the best example you all can give? That is the finches in Galapagos Island. As we all know, pretty sure Charles Darwin was a naturalist who was traveling in a ship called HMS Beagle, and he visited one such island called Galapagos Island where he came across a very rare bird called finches. So he gave an example of the finches for adaptive radiation. So during Darwin's journey to Galapagos Island, he observed small black birds called Darwin's finch. Because it was identified by Charles Darwin, the birds were called as Darwin's finches. The finches were diverse in their food habits. They had different food habits like originality from seed eating feature to many other forms with altered beak. So day by day they had started having an altered beak arose, enabling them to become insectivorous and vegetarian finches. So this was one example for adaptive radiation. So what is the next example? Adaptive radiation in Australian marsupials. A number of marsupials, each different from the other, evolved from an ancestral stock but all within the Australian continent. Example: Tasmanian wolf, tiger cat, marsupial rat, kangaroo, wombat, then sugar glider, etc. What is the next example you are going to give? Adaptive radiation in placental mammals. In Australia, adaptive radiation is exhibited where placental mammals are evolved into varieties, each of which appear to be similar to a corresponding marsupial. Examples: placental wolf, Tasmanian wolf, marsupial. So, what is adaptive radiation? You have to explain it with an example. So, the evolution of different species in a given geographical area starting from its original character and radiating to geographical area is called adaptive radiation. So this is a very important question from examination point of view. Next, what is convergent evolution? Already I told. What is convergent evolution? What example you can give? Analogous organs. So different structures evolving for the same function. Analogous organs are an example for convergent evolution. Homologous organs are example for divergent evolution. So what are analogous organs? Analogous organs are those organs which have different origin and structure but perform similar function. So different structures evolving for the same function and hence having similarity is called convergent evolution. The analogous organs explain the convergent evolution. Homologous organs explain divergent evolution. So you should remember this. Even this is important from examination point of view along with the examples. Next, name the two primates those were existing in 15 million years ago. MYA means what? Million years ago. 15 million years ago. Next, So Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus. Already I explained in the flow chart the evolution of man there. Name the primate who lived in East African grassland. So it is Australopithecines. Next, state Hardy-Weinberg principle. Explain any 4 factors affecting Hardy-Weinberg principle. This is a very important question from examination point of view. Please make note of it. So these are the questions which are frequently asked in the coming board examination. So most probably they might be asked. So these are all the important concepts which you need to study from this particular chapter called evolution. So one such concept is what? Hardy-Weinberg principle. So what is Hardy-Weinberg principle? Gene frequency remains constant from generation to generation unless it is altered by the external agencies. So the definition is very important. It was stated by Hardy-Weinberg. The statement states like what? Gene frequency remains constant from generation to generation unless it is altered by external agencies. What is the next question? Explain any 4 factors affecting Hardy-Weinberg. That is gene flow, genetic drift, natural selection. All these are the different mutation. All these are the factors which is going to affect the Hardy-Weinberg principle. So what is gene flow? The sum total of genes occurring in sexually reproducing population in a geographical area at a given time is called gene pool. Then the transfer of genes. So then what is gene flow then? The transfer of genes between the population of different gene pool which differs genetically but can interbreed is called gene flow. This results in the production of new combination. Next comes genetic drift. Genetic drift is also called as Sewall-Wright or founder's effect. This is also very important concept. One of the important factor that affects Hardy-Weinberg principle. It is the random changes in gene frequency in a small population purely as chance is called as genetic drift. Mutations. So all of us know what is a sudden heritable change. So mutations are the spontaneous and permanent change in the genetic makeup of an individual. This change may produce an alteration in the character. All of us know mutations are very important for evolution. There are 2 types of mutation, namely gene mutation, which is also called as point mutation, and chromosomal mutation, which is also called as frame shift mutation. Next factor, genetic recombination. It is the process of formation during gametogenesis results in the formation of new combination. Hence the name genetic recombination of characters in the progeny. Next, natural selection. As we all know, nature selects the best to survive and the weak will perish. So it is the process of selection of better adapted individuals with useful variations by nature. The fittest are better adapted individuals, survive, reproduce and contribute their genes to the next generation. Whereas the less adapted individuals, adaptation is very important for the survival of an organism. So better adapted individuals survive, reproduce and contribute their genes to the next generation. Whereas the less adapted individuals, the individuals which are not able to adapt to the changing environmental conditions, fail to reproduce or reproduce at a very slow rate and their genes are eventually lost. So all these are the factors which affect the Hardy-Weinberg principle. Next, question number 9. Enumerate on convergent and divergent evolution with suitable examples. Already I told you, convergent evolution can be explained through analogous organs, whereas the divergent evolution through homologous organs. So different structures evolving for the same function and hence having similarities called convergent evolution, and these structures are called analogous. The different structures evolving for the same function and the structures is called analogous. Example, potato, stem modification and sweet potato. That is, potato is a stem modification and sweet potato is a root mod. Both are performing the same function of storing of food, but they have different structure and origin. What is divergent evolution then? The same structure developed along different directions due to adaptations to different needs is called divergent evolution, and these structures are called as what? Homologous. So what are the examples you are going to give? They have common origin but perform different function. Thorns of bougainvillea and tendril of cucurbita. Thorn for defense, whereas tendril for anchorage. Next, question number 10. Mention 2 assumptions of Perrin and Haldane with reference to origin of life. Along with Charles Darwin, Oparin and Haldane also contributed to the field of evolution. And what was their opinion with reference to origin of life? According to this theory, the first form of life could have come from pre-existing life, that is the living organisms. The formation of life was preceded by chemical evolution, that is formation of diverse organic molecules from inorganic constituents. The conditions on earth were high temperature volcanic storms, reducing atmosphere containing methane, ammonia, etc. Next, define saltation. This is also a very important question. Single step large mutation causing speciation is called saltation. Next, question number 12. Define adaptive radiation giving to a. Already I explained, but why I have given again here is that means to say this was the question which was repeatedly asked in the previous question papers. The evolution of different species in a given geographical area, starting from its original character and radiating to other geographical areas, is called adaptive. Example already I told. Darwin finches is the best suitable example for adaptive radiation. Then comes the Australian marsupial. So remember these two examples. This is very important question which is asked for 2-marker question. Right? Any two factors affecting Hardy-Weinberg principle, already I told. Genetic drift, mutation, gene flow, natural selection, all these are the different factors which affect Hardy-Weinberg. So they have asked write any two for 2-marker questions. So either you can give any of the factors. So one such factor is genetic drift and mutation. Define genetic drift then. The change in gene frequency in a small population by chance is called genetic drift. So all these 1-marker questions what I have given is helping out to come across the MCQs. Question number 15. Very, very important question which is asked either for 3 marks or for 5 marks. If only diagram is asked, it is for 3 marks. Explain means with 5 marks. So here you can see with the help of a NEET label diagram, explain Stanley Miller's experiment in support of chemical evolution. So many theories were put across. Already I told theory of special creation, panspermia theory, spontaneous theory and chemical evolution. So one such theory which was accepted by many scientists was chemical evolution, which was put across by Stanley Miller. So he explained this chemical evolution with a very simple experimental setup which is commonly called as Miller's experiment. So here you need to explain with the help of a NEET label diagram. This is for 5-marker question. So in 19, now let us understand what is this experiment all about. If only diagram is asked, fine. You have to draw a label diagram. But if at all explanation is asked for 5, then you need to give the explanation of the experiment. As it goes like this. So in 1953, Stanley Miller, SL means Stanley Miller, an American scientist, he was an American scientist, created similar conditions in a laboratory. Like what were the conditions that were available in the prebiotic atmosphere, the first atmosphere that came into existence on this planet Earth. He tried to give the similar conditions. It is almost like simulations. So he designed an electric discharge closed flask experiment simulating primitive atmosphere using an apparatus. So hence it is called Stanley Miller's apparatus also. This experiment is evidence in support of what theory? Chemical evolution. Very, very important. He created what? He created electric discharge in a closed flask containing methane, ammonia and water vapor and at 800 degree centigrade. Ammonia, methane, hydrogen, ammonia and water vapor at 800 degree centigrade. 800 degree centigrade. He observed formation of amino acids. So what did at the end of the experiment, what was he observed? He observed the formation of amino acids. In similar experiments, others observed formation of sugar, nitrogen base, pigment and fats. So all these were the things which were available in the prebiotic atmosphere. That is how he explained how origin of life came from the chemicals that were found in the prebiotic atmosphere. Analysis of meteorite content also revealed similar compounds, indicating that similar processes are occurring elsewhere in space. So this is the experimental setup. You can see he took a round bottom flask and a boiling water here. Here you can see the vacuum pump and it is designed in this way. And here this is called spark discharge chamber, where 2 electrodes are introduced so that a spark or energy or electric current is generated. And when all the gases are passed into the spark discharge chamber, they mix along with the heat that is produced through the electrodes. So methane, ammonia, hydrogen, water and hydrogen. So once it is cooled, all the contents, as you know, the boiling water along with the water vapor, the gases are passed on to the spark discharge and they get mixed up with the heat that is produced through the electrodes, right? Then it is cooled. Then all the contents pass through this. This is called as the cooling jacket, where all the heated contents are cooled. So here you can see the condenser, the cooling jacket, and all the water. So as we know, once the water vapor cools down, it settles down as water droplets, and all that water droplets will get collected here, and this is called as a trap. So when he analyzed the trap containing the water droplets, he was able to observe what? Water containing organic compounds. So that is how all the compounds that were there, like amino acids, pigments, etc., etc. So all those chemicals were of like the same chemicals that was found in the prebiotic atmosphere. So this experiment justified that organic molecules could be formed from the primitive gases. What do you mean by primitive? The first gases on the primordial earth. What do you mean by primordial earth? The first earth. First earth. Then these molecules have gradually evolved into more complex molecules and ultimately developed into the living organisms. So with this limited evidence, the first part of the conjectured story, that is chemical evolution, was more or less accepted. So among all the theories of evolution, the theory which was accepted by many scientists was the chemical evolution theory. Moving on to question number 16. Give an example for adaptive radiation. Already I gave, that is Darwin's finches and Australian marsupials. What is saltation? Already I explained the single step large mutation that leads to speciation or evolution. Name the 6 stages of human evolution in correct sequence. So the important stages of human evolution are what? Ramapithecus, that is about 15 million years ago, primates called Dryopithecus and then Ramapithecus were existing. 2 million years ago, Australopithecus probably lived in East Africa grasslands and they hunted with stone weapons and essentially ate fruit. The first human-like being, the hominid, was called Homo habilis. Its brain capacity was between 650 to 800 cc and they did not eat meat. Then fossils discovered in Java in 1891 revealed the next stage, that is Homo erectus, about 1.5 million years ago. It had large brain, around 900 cc brain capacity. Neanderthal man, its brain size is 1400 cc, lived in East and Central Asia between 1 lakh to 40,000 years back. They used hides to protect their body and buried their dead. During the Ice Age between 75,000 to 10,000 years ago, modern sapien arise. So this is how you have to explain the evolution of man. Different stages of evolution of man. Next, question number 19. What is gene pool? The total number of genes and their alleles in a population is called gene pool. Next, what are homologous organs? Mention 2 examples. So in the previous slide, I explained about analogous organs with 2 examples. So what are homologous organs? Homologous organs are those organs which have similar structure and origin but perform different functions. So 4 limbs of whales, bats, cheetah, that is 4 limbs of whales, bat, cheetah and human. Then thorn of bougainvillea and tendrils of cucurbita. List the period, brain capacity and probable food of Homo erectus stage of human evolution. Homo erectus was available in which year? 1.5 million years ago. It had what? Large brain. Around what was the brain capacity? 900 cc and probably ate meat. Hope you have understood this question number called, that is, list the period, brain capacity and probable food of Homo erectus stage of human evolution. Hope you all have understood the different type of questions that are going to appear in your coming examination regarding this particular important chapter called evolution, which has a weightage of 8 marks. So in this particular revision class, I have tried to explain the important questions that may appear from the examination point of view. Thank you.